All right, welcome everybody to Updates from the Field. If we haven't met before, I'm Jason Van Hove, and this is a time where we have a brief interview with some sent missionaries from our church. And today we're spending a little bit of time getting an update and talking with Steve and Chelsey Nugteren. Hey, Steve and Chelsey.
Hello.
Hey, good to see you guys today. Well, could you just start off by reminding us of where you are, where you've been serving, and kind of start there and give us an update of what's happening with you?
Yeah, definitely. So for the last 4 years, almost exactly, we have been serving in the Netherlands with the Navigators doing international student ministry in a little town in the Netherlands called Wageningen.
So we served at HVC the 5 years before that. So what, 2014 to 2019,
Yeah.
and then moved to the Netherlands in the summer of 2019 and have been there since. And so Steve and I together pioneered an international student community for those 4 years. And yeah, we're there with our three daughters, Annika, Ruby, and Vivian, for the last 4 years.
And some news is that we moved back to the United States this past summer. So we've been living now in Iowa for the last 2 months. We live near Pella, Iowa.
Which is where your family's at, right?
Yes, I grew up in Pella, and that's where my parents and brothers still live. And Chelsea's from South Dakota, so we're not too far away from there.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a big change. We were with you last summer and got to give an update in the service of what we saw God doing and the excitement around the ministry that was really growing and thriving. But last summer, when we were in Iowa, we both started to notice something was shifting, and went last fall into a season of discernment about what the next few years would look like. We had to renew our visas, and we're kind of at a place of noticing we were feeling a little unsettled. And so it came a bit as a shock to us, as we had kind of imagined being in the Netherlands for another season for sure. But we were encouraged to do some discernment, and kind of came out on the other side of that, realizing that it was maybe time to move back. One thing that we have shared with some people as well is we kind of came back to some core things that we had wanted to do in the Netherlands. And one of them was to create and develop something that we could leave in local hands. And I think we had kind of forgot about that in the midst of the ministry growing, and it was thriving. And we had this team of leaders, but never really had seen it as like, oh, maybe we could step away. And so part of our discernment was working with that team to see if they were willing and ready to take on and lead on their own. And it turned out that they were. And so that was a kind of a surprise gift in the process as well. We had this little core team of leaders, and they actually took over and leading it. So we had this whole past year kind of to prepare them and train them and leave the ministry in their hands. So it's led now by a local Dutch leadership team.
Yep.
That's really exciting. So God kind of put that on your heart at the beginning of the ministry of starting something that you could leave in the hands of local leaders, and then reminded you about it when he was wanting to move you on from there. Yeah.
It was fun. I even looked back at notes from spoke at churches to do our fundraising. And that was something that we shared at every time with people or in churches, like really want to create something that we can then leave in local hands. And so it was beautiful. God reminded that or brought that back to our attention in our discernment process. Like, oh, that's right. We aren't supposed to be here forever. We are here to start and to create and then lead it off in local hands.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that and that background. And just as I was listening to you as well, I was reminded of God's timing is often so different from ours, and the way that he thinks about things, and that we can even be doing something that we love and is going really well, and we're seeing the kingdom advance, and God says, okay, now I'm moving you on, not necessarily how we would think of things, maybe, with our timing and our view of things. Yeah. So I'm curious to know what would you share if I were to ask you right now, what are maybe 2 or 3 highlights of your time in the Netherlands? What kinds of things would you share with us?
I think for me, a big highlight of mine was going on prayer walks, weekly prayer walks on campus. It was something that I joined in on. It already started before we moved there, but I joined that and did a weekly prayer walk with some students.
Rain or shine.
Yeah, rain or shine. Yeah, so. For sure. So with some Dutch and international students, but also local community members from other churches that we would gather, usually a small group of people, and we'd split up in 2s or 3s and just walk around campus for about a half an hour, praying for things. And the motto was praying on site for insight. So as we walked around, we saw things that we could pray for. And it was actually really encouraging for me in my own spirit and spiritual life to pray to see other things, to pray for other things, more an outward focus. And also believe there's just a lot of fruit from prayer and making that commitment to pray on a weekly basis with others. I think it was really fruitful in our ministry and also in my own personal life. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely one highlight for me. Then I think another highlight was there was someone in one of our small groups who was just getting to know God a little bit, didn't really have much of a faith background. And in one of our small group times, he actually prayed for the first time out loud with us. And it was just so beautiful to see this guy talk to God so honestly and authentically for the first time. And we got to witness it. It was just a beautiful thing of, wow, God, thank you that I got to witness that. It was such a blessing to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, if I take your model of like something big and then something specific, I just had a lot of fun over the last 4 years, really developing like the structure and the rhythms for the community and thinking of the way that the community would operate on like a weekly basis. We did Discovery Bible study with our small groups around the city and then met monthly in like a larger group gathering. And it was just a lot of fun to see it develop and grow and kind of change and shift. And we had COVID, like, I don't know, half of that time. So we had to be creative often. And so learning to work with like our local volunteers and working together with Steve. So I just overall enjoyed, it was a highlight to see God work in these little details to kind of create this thing that's still going today and like the rhythms of it. It was a lot of fun. Something specific, it's a specific memory on, we had a big barbecue, a meatless barbecue because it's Wageningen and they don't eat meat there. But we had a big barbecue on our last night with all the students. And it was, I mean, I don't know, probably 20 plus cultures represented there. And Steve and I were biking away. So it was time to take the girls to bed, but all the students were staying and hanging out. And I turned around and look, and there's this guy from Colombia teaching a dance to all these like European students and people from all over the world. And it was just such a picture of what NIW Navigators International's Wageningen had become, like all these cultures mixing together, learning from one another with like this spirit of joy and hospitality and getting to experience God together. And so it's just, for me, it's just like this final last picture of what the community had become, and really this beauty and unity and diversity that we had never experienced before in our life, which brought a lot of challenges working together with so many different cultures. But man, we'll never be the same because of it. We learned so much from other people, and it's really rich when you get to see God's beauty and diversity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing those. Those are great highlights. And I know that you just had to pick a few from many great experiences and highlights that you had of God moving. And so thank you for sharing just a few things. I'm curious to know what's something that you would want your HVC church family to know right now? You've moved back to Iowa, you're in a time transition. What's something that you'd want to say to us as a church family?
Yeah, just a big thank you for support over the years. And it really, before we ever even considered missions, the HVC family invested in us in so many different ways, through different courses and trainings, but also just through personal relationships with many people there. And then, of course, during our missions, Jason, you've been a huge resource for us and a blessing to us, encouragement.
And lots of financial support as well.
Definitely. So, Yeah, we really do feel like we've been sent by HVC, and we've been very blessed by the HVC community. So we're really, really grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a thank you, and just information of where we're at and what we're doing. If you haven't read our newsletters, maybe this comes as a bit of a shock to you, of like, oh, I thought the Nutrients were still in the Netherlands. I think I'm still supporting them. What the heck is going on? So if that's you and you're curious, I hope this helps you understand a little bit of our transition over the past year. We moved to Pella in July, and Steve accepted a job as a park ranger. So he's back in the field that he really felt called to. That was part of our reason in transitioning back. Steve was really feeling drawn back to natural resource work. And so if you have questions about why Pella, feel free to reach out, and we'd love to help you understand our process and our journey. But as far as giving and what that looks like, I'm in a discernment process if I'm going to stay with the Navigators, and we'll hopefully know more by the end of the month. So we have a week-long debrief that we'll go to as a family next week, just to help us process the transition.
And the last 4 years of being in a cross-cultural environment doing missions. So yeah, we're looking forward to that week-long debrief and renewal training, our program. And yeah, maybe it'll be by mid-October by the time you have enough space to discern of what's next for you.
Yeah. So as of today, I am still on staff with the Navigators, and we'll know more in the next month if I'm going to continue with a more stateside support role, or what I will do moving forward. But if you have any questions, please reach out.
Yes, please.
Okay, we can do that. Thank you. That's great. When will we see you again? Like, we'd love to see you in person. It's great to see you on a screen, but will we see you in person again soon?
Yeah, so we plan on being at HVC on October 15. So that's our next planned time of being up in Ames. Hopefully see many of you on that Sunday.
Yeah, that'd be great. So if you are watching this video before October 15th, 2023, make sure that you are at church and say hi to Steve and Chelsey that day. It'll be great to see you guys. And on behalf of Harvest Vineyard Church, I want to say thank you to both of you. First of all, thank you for saying yes to Jesus to go to Europe and to live and to serve him there, and to build up the WIC and wait, I said that wrong.
NIW.
NIW. Why did I say WIC? Okay, I don't even know.
No worries.
Who knows? I preached this morning, so my brain is like, woo, okay. The NIW. Yeah, we're serving and building up the NIW and leaving that in local hands. And thank you for saying yes to him when he called you to come back too. I know neither decision was easy. We love you, and we do look forward to seeing you on the 15th and other times when you're in the area. Yeah, we thank God for you. So thanks for spending some time with me today, and for sharing a little bit more of your story and giving us this update from the field. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See
you soon.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.